Exactly.
Space Marines 2.
Yeah,
That's
speaking of a medium-sized title with grand ambitions or grand expectations, let's say, the main game I've been playing for about 30 minutes or 45 minutes because I've hadn't had a lot of time.
Uh-huh.
Marvel vs. Capcom
Oh,
Arcade
yes.
Classics Fighting
Everybody's
Collection.
playing that right now.
Sold that pop-up.
Yeah.
Yeah, sorry, CD. A bit of a spoiler there.
Ah.
Yeah, I've not been playing much of it because I haven't had a lot of time this weekend because of work. But so I played a few games of the arcade ladders on a few of the games. So the main ones that I have affiliation with are X-Men vs Street Fighter, Marvel vs Capcom, and Marvel vs Capcom 2.
Mhm.
So I've done a little bit of the arcade ladders on those. So notoriously in the past, I have turned around and I said I'm not the biggest fan of Marvel vs. Capcom 2 back when it first
Yeah.
released. Is it now's the time to turn around and say I think Marvel vs. Capcom 2 is an excellent game and probably was just a little bit too young to understand how great it is when it released?
Yeah.
I think it is also, for me as well, the fact that they changed it from a 6-button layout to a 4-button layout from Marvel vs. Capcom to Marvel vs. Capcom 2 sort of confused the hell out of me as a kid as well. But yeah, 2 is an excellent game. It is. I haven't tested the netcode out yet, but that is going to be my next port call once I actually have spent some time with the game, learning each mechanic again, because there's a lot to learn across these games.
Yes.
And trying to get used to the pace of each game, because each game is obviously incredibly different in terms of its game speed, its combo styles and routes. Picking up a character like Shimogorath in certain games, he's gone from being a motion character in 3 to a charge character, so having trying to remember all of that again is great fun. The biggest disappointment with the collection, I'm sure most of the people have obviously said this in reviews, but the fact that the game has online to it and it has apparently a pretty sturdy rollback netcode to it, doesn't have cross-play, unfortunately, so you're pretty much reserved to only playing against PC players, Switch players, or PS4 players, wherever you buy it. So that was such a shame, especially since when the game launched on Steam, it had about 6,000 players to start. Most of the ex-pros are all playing it on PC, so that dwindled the player count to about 2,000 players within a couple of days. So, yeah, great fun, but...
With the newer collection, last time they announced crossplay, didn't they?
That's what I thought.
I hope so. I have to go back and look at the trailer. If they have,
maybe they'll patch that in.
Yeah.
Who knows? If they do, great. If not, well, just having the collection there and having the games, that have been in a licensing hell for years, accessible and playable again is great.
I will just say that any game that is on multiple platforms and has online multiplayer,
Yes.
ideally should have crossplay.
Yes.
It should.
Because it will just
something like a fighting game.
it will just continue the longevity of the game.
Yes.
Because even if the fan base diminishes so much on each platform individually, at least if there's still like 1,000 on each platform, there's 4,000 players there.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Right.
So you're still likely to get a game.
Yeah, and whilst it isn't included in the news this week and what we're going to be covering, it was announced for an Xbox One release next year as well, which great. Can't argue with that.
I mean, that's weird though, but yeah.
Probably because they were having problems with the Series S, but who knows? Maybe it just wasn't in their development plans to start with, and then saw the.
Wouldn't be the first time the Series S is holding something back. Yeah.
Nope, not a surprise, but yeah, it's just a little bit disappointing it doesn't have crossplay, but hey, having these games again, fantastic. Kind of annoying I've had to double dip because digital release at the moment and then physical release in November, but
dear.
Hey, that copy will remain sealed.
Well, I'm so old that I played X-Men vs. Capcom on an arcade machine in the Walmart.
Sorry, wait, you mean X-Men vs. Street Fighter?
That's what I meant, sorry. X-Men vs. Street Fighter.
Yeah, because it was Marvel Superheroes versus Street Fighter, then Marvel vs. Capcom.
Because I was so obsessed with the X-Men.
Yeah. The only game I actually haven't played in the collection is Punisher yet, but I will be going back and playing that at some point because side-scrolling beat-em-ups.
Kind of the Marvel was Capcom and Punisher collection.
Yeah, but it was technically the game that started the whole thing with the the whole brand thing with Marvel. You know, they got the license to work on a Punisher game and then built from there.